Hi, my name is Samyukta. If you didn't know, welcome to this new series. Uh, just a piece of information for you. I'm just a girl. Yeah, and sometimes a girl needs to escape the horrendous clutches of reality. So I thought each month I could talk about the books that I read, the movies that I watched, new shows, literally anything that's not YouTube shorts and brain rot, because my brain's rotting. So, regardless of age and gender, I invite all of you to join the club, and there's going to be a lot of fun and yapping and discussions so we can interact about these things. Yeah, come along. The format is simple. First, I'll talk about what is the book about. Second, how easy was it to read, both in terms of the writing style and also how long the book was. Like, sometimes the book be chunky, girl. Next is how did it affect my view of the world. Like, it's okay if it made me feel sad or like angry, like any negative emotion, but I wanted to change some sort of perspective in me. Next is who do I recommend it to, because it's a club. I think about you guys. I'm so thoughtful. And lastly, any other comments or yapping, because it is my channel after all. Um, let's get into it. First book is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. My friend gifted it to me. Thank you, Snake Jam. What is this book about? It's about these two adolescent aspiring artists, and their family and their dynamics and their love lives. It's very artsy, very, very cute. What was the ease of reading? Super easy, dude. I know that some people wouldn't like this style, this switching perspective or the super goofy writing, but I loved it so much. It's a chunky book, but it was super fast read for me. Worldview impact, I have to give it a 4.5, because not only is the art part of it so beautiful, like everything is described in terms of composition, the shapes, the colors. It changed how I look at the world. And also the description of grief is so realistic and moving and beautiful. I love this book so much. Thank you to Sneka for gifting it to me. Who would I recommend it to? I recommend it to artists, queer people, adolescents, and people who always feel like an oddball. Not me though, I'm too normal. Anyway, it's typical for me to read books about young adults which have both family and love life aspects, like for example To All the Boys. And I usually skip to the romance part because I'm like, that's a good part. That's the spicy part. But here I loved the relationship with the parents, the sibling dynamics, like everything was so warm and also realistic and well written, that when the romance bits came, I was almost disappointed. Like I was almost frustrated, like go back to the other storyline, which is shocking. The next is One Part Woman by Perumal Murugan. It's a Tamil translation of the book Murugan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but let's pretend I am. My mom bought it at a book fair. I stole it from her. Apparently, there's lots of controversy around this book. I'm not going to go there, so read it up if you want to. Okay. So it's about this couple, their domestic life, just shots, like peeks into their struggles of not having a child, and it's set in like British era Tamil Nadu. Ease of reading wise, it's not necessarily difficult, but I had a little bit of a hard time. I'll tell you why. The language is simple and the book is short. Okay, I read it in like 1.5 days. However, there's a certain discomfort in reading familiar themes or terms of Tamil in a foreign language. Like many of the contextual nuances, like slang and humor especially, is lost in translation. Like I referred to a soft copy of Madhurubagan, and it felt infinitely funnier and nicer to read. So if you would be able to read it in Tamil, I recommend doing that. Worldview impact wise, it's a solid 2. It didn't affect me much. Who do I recommend it to? I'm not really sure, but basically people who like Indian domestic life type situation. and people were just interested in the lore of Perumal Murugan, who was a very famous author. Yeah. Next, we have this book called When We Cease to Understand the World. Let me put my glasses on so I look smart while I talk about a deep book. I picked it up because of my university's book club. Let's discuss about that. It has these various stories of breakthroughs in science and math, and it's invariably set against the background of World War and how does these breakthroughs affect war, how does war affect humanity, what is the cost of trying to understand the world. Very interesting subjects. Ease of reading wise, it was a pain in the posterior for me because it has a lot of scientific jargon and specific names, and I took commerce in 11th and 12th for a reason, bro. Like, I can't read through this. And worldview impact wise, there is a lot of existential propositions to think about, and it talks about the awfulness of war, but to me it seemed inorganic and nothing groundbreaking. I'll recommend this to people who like reading about scientific discoveries, people who like the blend of fiction and non-fiction, and those who generally want interesting niche topics to bring up in conversation. Like, I get you, go for it. However, when I first started reading it, I was like, whoa, this is so well researched. Like, it has so many details about these people in history. How did the author do that? And then I was like, oh, it's fictionalized. I found it later on in the book. And for me, there is a general understanding in reading nonfiction that it's a trade-off. It's more challenging, and you do forego the thrills of pure fiction, but at the end of the day, you understand something about the world. I know it's ironic given the book title, but you gain a different kind of intellect. But with this book, I felt like it was a little bit of a limbo. I didn't feel like the payoff was worth the read. However, one more interesting thing is that because this was a book club recommendation, I went to the meeting to discuss the book, and I realized how subjective book reading is as an experience. Like, for me, it's a low rating, but for a lot of people, they felt easy reading it. They felt moved by the talks about life and death and the scientific parts of it. They were greatly interested, and they thought it was well written, all of these things. So first thing, take all of my book reviews with a pinch of salt because subjective experience. Second thing, if you have a book club that you can be a part of, do it. It's such an interesting and fun process and activity to be part of. Obviously, Sam Jam Escapism Club should be your first priority, but a book club is also nice to have in your roster. Yeah, so that's the end. I had so much fun making this video. Let me know what you think. Subscribe if you want more of these. Keep interacting in community posts or comments because I want to know what you guys think. Yeah, I had so much fun making this. Bye-bye.